BlackBerry, it's a very small, fine print. We will begin in 3 minutes. 3 minutes. We will have Detective Sergeant Joyce Scherzer of Homicide, who will be speaking today. Her rank is Detective Sergeant. First name is Joyce, Joyce. Surname Scherzer, Schertzer, of Homicide. Demanding. Okay, here you go. Mic check, testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Is the white balance good?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Everyone else good?
Yes.
Okay. One minute remaining. Thirty seconds. Ten seconds. Good morning and welcome to Toronto Police Headquarters. Today I would like to introduce Detective Sergeant Joyce Scherzer of Homicide. She'll be providing an update into Homicide number 3 for 2016.
Thank you, Jennifer. Good morning. 4 weeks ago, Alfredo Patriarca, known as Freddie to his friends and family, was shot and killed moments after he arrived home at his Etobicoke home. He was the third homicide of 2016. Today, his widow would like me to read a letter that she wrote. In the hopes of cultivating some witnesses, homicide investigators support her in this message, and there is little doubt in my mind that someone knows the identity of the shooter. We're going to have the video running of the offender continuously while I read the letter from her. I'm asking anyone who might know anything or anyone involved in the murder of my husband to please come forward with information that might assist in the arrest of the person responsible for taking his life. Freddie was a very loving husband and my best friend. He was an extremely devoted father who adored his 2 little children. He was a son, a brother, an uncle, and a man who was loved by so many. Please don't let the person who killed Freddie get away with taking such a good and giving man. No one has the right to take the life of another. The person responsible needs to be found before they do it again. People like this should not be walking the streets with the rest of us. So that's a message from Freddie's wife to members of the public in hopes of cultivating a witness. We're going to ask you again to have a look at the pictures and the images captured by video at the time of the offense and see if anybody recognizes who this individual may be. Thank you.
Do you want to bring us back to the actual night in question and just run through some of the details that we
Sure.
know?
So it's January the 20th. It's a Wednesday. It's approximately 6:21 p.m. when Freddie is arriving home at the end of his day. He pulls into his driveway. He goes right into the garage, and under a minute later, you can see the offender approaching from the opposite side of the screen. So this is Freddie arriving home. I've also captured some stills of the offender. It's a little pixelated, but you get the gist of the way that this person walks. They have a distinctive gait in my mind, the clothing, and the offender spends about approximately 8 seconds and then flees the scene.
Detective, do you think he was in a car near the neighborhood? Was he walking around? Did any neighbors see this guy in this parka?
These are questions that I'm hoping that members of the public can assist me with the answers to. We know definitely that this person was in the immediate area, just given the time span between the arrival of Freddie at his home and when this individual approaches him.
Was the family home at the time?
The family was home at the time, but we're not going to be mentioning the logistics of how it came to be. Suffices to say that 911 was called immediately thereafter, and some good Samaritans, some good citizens in the area also tried to render some assistance.
Well, it seems like the evidence points to a targeted hit.
Well, absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind that Freddie Patriarca was the intended target.
I mean, there is information out there from various sources that there was a connection to organized crime with the victim. I mean, there seems to be quite a bit out there about that. Can you comment at all how you're working with that angle?
Well, I can tell you I'm not working that angle at all because Mr. Patriarca has never been charged with an offense in relation to organized crime. So in my mind's eye, I'm looking at establishing and identifying who this offender is. And then I think all those questions will, be fleshed out.
Do you have any more video? Is this that you were talking earlier in the investigation several weeks ago that you were going to be looking for other security video? Have you turned anything else up?
I can tell you that our investigative team, and there is a team of investigators working on this, have downloaded and seized approximately 348 hours of various video, and we're in the process of analyzing that. But you can imagine how time-consuming that is in real time to sit down and analyze it. It would be of great assistance if anybody would come forward and just say, you know what, look at, and in a meaningful way. I mean, like sit down with investigators on the record and become a witness. And witness has, sometimes people say, oh, I'm not a witness because I didn't actually, see the offense occur. If you know or you feel that you know who this individual is based on their movement, the circumstance, the clothing, I would appreciate if they would come forward.
What more can you tell us about Freddie? You read a letter from his widow. She describes him as a wonderful, caring, father figure. What can you add so that we can understand who this person was?
Well, I think, and I don't want to speak for his wife. I think she did that eloquently and on her own. I think what was troubling is that everybody's seizing on this organized crime connection, and really, it's taking away from the fact that a life was taken. And he was a father, and he was a husband, and he was her life partner. And I think that that's not getting enough out to the public. I don't want anybody to become desensitized because they think that this is some, organized crime, so therefore, they're not going to get involved in it. They need to recognize that he was a member of the community, he was a father, he had many different roles to many different people, and we need to identify this offender because anybody in the community with a gun affects the whole community, but we're all victims of gun violence. I mean, the Patriarca family more profoundly, obviously, but we're all subject to becoming victims to gun violence if we don't do anything about it.
Have you gotten any tips that have led to anything?
I'm not gonna get into the status of the investigation so far. Suffice to say, we've been, working nonstop around the clock for the last 4 weeks, and incidentally, yesterday would have been the 4-week mark. So I'm hoping that, somebody will step up and say, all right, I know who this individual is, or I think I know who he is.
Has the talk of the organized crime ties hampered their investigation in terms of witnesses indicating?
I don't know. I don't know what, if any weight, anybody is giving that, that information. I just would like to say personally that if anybody knows anything, and if you have a conscience, then to step forward and talk to us in a meaningful way. Thank you.
That concludes today's conference. The video is available on the Toronto Police YouTube site. Thank you.